to my channel. Welcome to a brand new video. I know I didn't upload last week. I was sick. Like, I had the worst flu ever. I'm still recovering, but much better than I was last week. I'm sorry about the lighting because I think it's 4:30 right now and good natural lighting is gone, and I couldn't feel like I couldn't record earlier because being busy with his like cleaning, cooking and all the other things, and I can't record when my daughter's around because she will disturb me. She's a toddler, she's 4, so everything is just a game to her, so she wouldn't understand that I have to film, So she's outside playing right now, and I have a few minutes, literally a few minutes before my peace is disturbed. So today I want to talk a little bit about being a single parent and my journey with parenting. I can safely say that parenting has been the most difficult thing that I've ever had to do, like my whole entire life. And I've been doing this for the past 4.5 years. Like I said, my daughter is 4 years old, and there is absolutely nothing I can compare it to. Like, it is just something else, right? And in both the good and like the bad, let me explain. Like, it's equally as bad as much as it is good. Like, the good moments are great and the bad moments are horrible. I did and I still do blog quite extensively about my parenting journey. I try and put up a blog post every year, just like talking about the past year and how like things are changing and transitioning and all of that. So if you are interested in reading, right, or just getting a little bit more information about what I'm talking about from my perspective, you can go to my blog and read all the blog posts I've posted in the past years. I will leave a link down below, right? But I'm trying to pace myself because there's a lot going on in my mind. I'm also thinking about the fact that the little one can walk in at any moment. So I'm trying to be, So I started this parenting journey in 2018, like I said in my previous video, when I gave birth, right? And at the time, if you've watched my previous video, you know what was happening. So I was okay. After I gave birth, I was unemployed for 6 to 7 months, right? I had to decline an offer because of like reasons that I mentioned in my previous posts, right? So I declined the offer, and then I was at home for 6 months with no job, new baby. Like, it was crazy. So my introduction to parenting was just like it was already hard from the beginning because I was unemployed, right? And I did mention in my previous post, you will see, like, my friends were working, buying cars and all of that stuff, and I was just at home, raising a baby, and it was already like filled with like negative things from the onset. But one thing for sure, that I loved my baby and I still love her. Like, I loved her so much that I couldn't see myself leaving her for a new job, right? Which is ultimately the reason why I declined the offer. So I stayed at home. So it's not like I was unemployed because there were no jobs or whatever. Like, I declined a job offer. Let me put it Like I'm the one that declined a job offer, and regretted it severely throughout the months that I was at home. But the goal was to stay at home with my baby, and eventually that happened. I got a job and I got to stay at home with my child, which was just amazing. But even when I was unemployed, like having all the time in the world, being at home with my baby, like parenting was just so tiring. Like it was so tiring. And I tried, you read the books and you think you're gonna be this type of parent, and you think things are just gonna go like the way you envisioned, but it doesn't always. That's not always the case. Like I tried to be intentional, I still am, but sometimes you just gotta choose peace. Like you just have to choose peace, and sometimes peace means that when the little one is throwing a tantrum, you give her exactly what she wants, because you just don't have the time nor the energy. So I tried to be very intentional about my parenting. But another thing was, when you at home under someone else's roof, it's really hard to stick to your own like beliefs, and like, when the child is crying at 12 o'clock at night and Kokwake thinks it's a good idea, like do things that she believes will help the child, it's very difficult for you to say no. Like you can say no, but then it's her house and she wants to sleep, and if she thinks that what she wants to do so the child will help, then you're fighting a losing battle. And I lost many of those battles, and I knew there and then that I had to get my own space and raise my child under my own roof with my own rules. I understood perfectly that it was coming from a good place. I had no doubt in my mind that she was also trying to help, or that our parents are genuinely trying to help us. But it's just like, can you let me parent? Like, can you let me try? You had your chance to parent us. Can I at least try it my way? If I fail, then you can step in. I had none of that. Like, it was just like, you do this, you do that, or So I had to uktobela lo mthetho. Like I had to submit under that, that law. So yes, stayed at home for I think a year. Yeah, no. That whole year, that whole 2018, I stayed at home, and half of 2019 I was at home. Then I moved away because I got a job somewhere else. Like it was a 4-month contract, and I was gonna leave my baby at home with my mother and my aunt, and that was the second most hardest thing I've ever had to do. Because initially I had wanted to stay with my baby, right? And now here's another opportunity, a job opportunity. And I couldn't say no, because even then, like I was unemployed for a couple of months before that came along. So I couldn't say no. And she was much older at the time, so it was less difficult. I'm not saying it was easy, it was less difficult to leave at that time. So I left, and also bearing in mind that it's only a 4-month contract, so I'll be back in no time, and then I could travel home during weekends. Like, I had no choice but to accept the job offer, right? So I accepted and I moved, and I left her at home. Like I said, it was the second most difficult thing for me to do, because as a parent, like I said, like you have a certain way that you want to raise your child, and it won't be the same way that your aunt or your mother or your sisters or anybody else would do things. So even when you try and tell them, it does not translate. Like they will have their own way. So I knew when I left her that half the things that I wanted to do for her, with her, they were not going to be done, because everybody has their own way of doing things. So I had to live with that, which was difficult. Right, I got the job offer in end of October, and by December I was like, nope, I want to move in with my baby, because there was also other things that were involved, like finances and all of that. Like it was taxing, right? It was just a lot. So I was like, okay, no, I want to move in with my baby. Like I want to try, in December I took her with me to visit for a couple of weeks, and the tantrums that week, like, okay, I understand now. She was adjusting. She was almost 2 years old, which is like, the terrible twos are the worst. So now in hindsight I understand, but then it was very difficult to understand. Like, and I felt horrible because I felt like I was taking her away from comfort, from familiarity, from her friends and family, like, so I felt like maybe she was acting out because she missed the life that she had back home. So I was torn between like keeping her with me or taking her, like, it was just a lot. So eventually I was like, okay, no, I only have 2 months left here, so let me just take her back home. And because also I had no plan for her there, like I didn't have like a daycare or a helper or a nanny to help me out. So I was like, okay, as much as I would love for her to stay here, I have to be practical. So I took her back home and I left her there. And this was 2020, like pre-COVID, just before the pandemic hit South Africa, right? So yeah, I left her home and then went back to work. And then nothing special happened there. It's just I was missing her a lot, like a lot. And then I made my way back home and I was unemployed again. So I was spending 24 hours, 7 days with her. And it was a lot. And at the time she was 2. So the terrible twos were full on. Like it was chaotic, right? Like the tantrums were full on. And she wasn't like taking the bottle anymore. And like I was having a hard time like trying to figure out what to feed her during the day because I didn't want her having noodles all the time. I bought fish fingers. She didn't want those. I can't remember what else. I tried a few things. She was just not interested. But I also understand, I left, like when I left, she was with my aunt and they were cooking, like, I think they were cooking every day. So she was having like home cooked meals every day. And I, on the other hand, I am more for convenience. Like I want like pasta and oven meals and all of that stuff. And I didn't have time for pap. Like even though I was home all the time, but like the thought of cooking pap and like it was just a lot. But we made it through. And she loves pasta as well, so that helped. So I was with her like all day, every day, and it was tiring, even for her, because she was used to playing and being outside. So it was just a lot for the both of us, but we managed. And fast forward to July that year, then I got a new job. I had to move. And I had to leave her again because I didn't know. Literally, when I left home, I had spoken to some lady on the phone about a room, but it wasn't a sure thing. So I took my things, moved to a bank, and only got confirmation for a room when I got here. So I couldn't up and leave with her. But I knew at the back of my mind that I would have to come. Like, I would have to go back home and come back with her, right? So yeah, that's what happened. in January of 2021, I finally moved in with her. Oh my God, last year was the longest year of my life. Like, wow. So in 2021, we moved here, right? Like, I took her from home. I moved into a 2-bedroom. Sorry, my neighbor is. So 2021 was a year for the books. Okay, now I'm being dramatic, but it was, from the moment we got to a bank, like, Ulanga was just acting out, like, literally from day one. And I still had to move from my old place to my new place. It was just a lot. But we moved, right? Got settled in, and yeah, so I've been staying with her like full time since last year, and it's sorry, it's been a journey, hey? It's been a journey. Like being a single parent with no help, because I do not have family here, so I can't just drop her off like at my aunt's place, or if I want to go do something. So I think that's been the most hardest thing. It's finding help and finding time for myself. In the beginning, I literally had no time for myself. Like, from the moment we wake up, get her ready, drive her to school, go to work, fetch her from creche, go home, cook, bath her, eat, get her ready for bed, and then I sleep. Like, that's literally all I used to do. On weekends, I found a daycare that would take her on weekends. So from 8 to 3, I would take her there. I would knock off at 1. If I had any errands, they had to be done by 2:45. And that left me with no time, because that's literally like less than 2 hours. I had to run my errands quick, which sometimes, like, honestly, like, I would just give up because trying to run around the mall and do everything in less than 2 hours is just crazy. So I would just give up and just like go home and sit for an hour and then go fetch her. Like, I literally had no time to myself. And since we moved to a new place, like, I was very wary of letting her go play with the other kids there, because it was a big, like, complex, and I didn't want her, like, being kidnapped or human trafficked. I know that's dramatic, but every time, like, she was out of my sight for even a minute, like, I would panic, because also I didn't know anybody there. Like, I had just been there for less than 2 months, so I was very, very much uncomfortable with her just running around and, like, that I don't know their parents, like, no. So she would, like, act out a lot because of that, and I had a difficult time, like, understanding all of that. Like, I theoretically understood what was happening, but, like, practically or practically, I don't know, I just couldn't, like, I didn't know what to do. Like, sometimes I would also just throw a tantrum. Like, it was wild. So yeah, but with time, I think, like, later on in the year, I would let her, like, go play, but I had to know exactly where she was. And another thing with her is that she wanders a lot. So you would let her play at this house, and then you go fetch her, she's not there. Like, that would make me lose my mind. Like, I would get shit scared, and nobody would know where she is. Like, that was the most stressful thing. So I'd go around looking for her, and this is a big complex, and I also didn't want to keep her in the house, but also letting her go to play meant that I would have to look for her for like a long time, and I didn't appreciate that. But I warmed up to it at some stage. I warmed up to it, and she found friends, and it was great. But I didn't like her friends. I still don't like the people that she's friends with. I don't know if it's a mom thing or like I just didn't appreciate the company that she kept. But yeah, last year was difficult. Like I barely had time to myself, and I also had to find a helper because the chores were trapping me. Like laundry. Like I can deal with the cleaning, the laundry. And then like another thing was the stains on her clothes, because a crash get harder like 24/7. Okay, not 24, but all day. When she started daycare, like they were playing all day. She would come back like engolile, and those stains were like they were very difficult to get rid of. So I had a helper. Sorry about my nails. I had a helper. She was great. But then naye wangenzeli itayela nje and brought her sister, and then I was like, no, I didn't hire you. I didn't hire your sister. I hired you. So I got rid of the sister, and then I found another helper who was just like, it wasn't it. So I got rid of her too towards the end of the year. And then towards the end of the year things were getting better, and then this year things are much better. Like even now, like even sitting here and like knowing that she's outside, I'm okay. Like I'm okay because it's a smaller complex. I can see where she is at all times. The gates are locked, like, so it's better, right? Even though I did get a stay-in helper to like alleviate all of the stress, she left. I don't know why she left. She just up and left. So I do have another helper though. It's just that she comes in on certain days. I don't want to stay in helper anymore. Don't ask me why, but I'm okay here. I'm okay with having someone come in and leave. I'm okay with that. And she helps me out on Saturdays because I have to work on Saturdays, so I don't have to wake my baby up early and take her to like some daycare, so it helps that way. So yeah, but all of this to say that parenting is hard, you guys, like especially when you're a single parent and you do everything by yourself. Like even like trying to get time to yourself means that you have to pay someone, right? And that comes from your own pocket. Angisho ukuthi like it is not a blessing to have kids. Angisho ukuthi it's not wonderful. I love her to death. Like I love her so much. There is nothing in this world that I love more than my baby. But being an active, involved parent that is there every single day is tiring, and there is no days off. Like I do this every single day, and it's hard and it's tiring and it's a lot, right? And most especially when you have a strong-willed child like my child, like she's like sometimes we have back and forth, like we will have an argument and I'm like, you are 4, I am 29, why are we discussing this? I'm the parent here, but it happens. So and guys, have kids at your own, like get in at your own. But Mina, I would not advise that you have kids, right? And I don't want to debate that statement. That's where I stand. Like, kids are a lot. unless you have the support structure, the financial, like getting the finances for it, like, okay, fine. But just know also you'll be emotionally taxed and you'll be emotionally depleted. I even married couples that like share responsibilities. Genzega, guys, like raising a human is a lot of work. Like emotionally, it's a lot of work. Like I've had to work through, not even work through, like I'm still working through things, ngami, that came into light when I became a parent. I'm like, oh, I'm this type of person. And another thing, when you have a baby, they become a reflection of who you are. There's things that I see in her, I'm like, oh, she took that from me. And then you start to realize things, and you start like, it's a lot. Not only financially, emotionally, like it's a lot, like spiritually, it's a lot. So I won't get like, I'm getting along if I were to get into every single bit of it. But for me, it's been the most challenging thing that I've ever had to do, and also the most rewarding, because when you're intentional about it and you plant certain seeds and you see them grow, you're like, okay, this is not in vain, you know. But also the bad parts are like, yo, you just need a break, like. And that's another thing, like, it's not bad all the time, but for me what gets bad about it is that you get no breaks. Like all we need from time to time is a little break from parenting, and you know, you recalibrate, you refresh, and then you come back to it. Oh, like your cup is full also, so you can pour from a full cup, not an empty cup. It's very difficult to parent from an empty cup, and I've had to do that like half of the time staying with my baby, because I don't have anyone to call and say, I'm not feeling well, can you please look after her for a bit, you know. And that's sad. That's the sad part. But we journey on, we carry on, because she's all I have and I'm all she has here. Yeah, guys, so that's it. Thanks for watching. She just literally walked inside to end this video. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And yeah, I'll see you on the next one. Bye.